Hi, everyone. Welcome back to our humble podcast, Legal Tech Light. Today, I have with me Michelle Hamilton, our Managed Services Division Lead. I also have Josh Livingood, who is our Senior Developer and Integration Specialist. Because today, I'm super excited. We're going to talk about something that I love and Josh likes to geek out on, which is APIs. Hi, Josh. Hi, Michelle.
Hello.
Hi, Tammy.
Thanks for being here, guys. So the first thing I wanted to start with, Josh, I know you have a lot planned to talk about today. So can you describe for us in layman's terms what an API is?
Yeah, I can do that. It'd probably be easier if we did an exercise rather than me just droning on about something. There's a bunch of different types of APIs. They can do any number of things. It's kind of a blanket term for a bunch of different functionality. So, let's try this. When I first got introduced to programming, it's about 18 years ago. I took a class, and they basically said, take something mundane that you don't even think about, and break it down step by step. Write it down, and just say it out loud. Let's do this. It's getting close to lunchtime, so we'll use the example that they gave me. Make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. I'll give you guys 1 minute. If you got a piece of scrap paper, or if you just want to think about it, I'll set the timer and we'll go. But basically, just write down the steps that it would take to make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich.
Okay.
Are you guys ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
All right, go.
The first thing that came to my mind was making dog food in the morning.
Yeah, I have to do that too. And there's no right or wrong way to do this. There's no right or wrong answer, but it's interesting to hear some of the responses. I feel like a minute's sufficient. We don't want to waste it all solving a problem.
We could do this. We got this.
I cheated. I already did mine. Well, sort of. Yeah, that just past 30 seconds. $45. And time.
Done.
All right.
Definitely not done.
All right, who wants to go first?
Make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich correctly.
Who wants to go
Oh
first?
my goodness. I don't know. Mine's long. Do you want me to start, Josh?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so I have walk into the kitchen, walk to the cabinet, open the cabinet, get bread from the cabinet, open the bread, take out 2 slices, take out a plate, which I didn't open cabinet, but open cabinet, take out a plate, put bread on plate, open drawer, get out knife, get out spoon, open cupboard, get out peanut butter, open fridge, get out jelly, and that's where I stopped because
That's pretty good. That's pretty detailed. So this is where the fun part comes in. I can pick details out of that. What kind of knife did you grab? Did you grab a butcher knife? Did you grab a butter knife? What kind of bread? White bread, wheat bread, that stuff with the oatmeal on the edges. That's pretty good. There's a whole bunch. There's no right or wrong answer, and that's the point of the exercise. What do you have, Michelle?
I want to hear Michelle's.
I wrote walk into kitchen, grab bread from pantry, grab peanut butter from pantry, grab from refrigerator, grab knife out of drawer, grab plate, put bread on plate, open peanut butter, open jelly, spread peanut butter on one piece of bread, spread jelly on the other piece of bread, put the bread together, and eat. That is what I wrote.
And that works. They all work. Now, other things. Did you check the date on the peanut butter, the bread? Bread goes bad pretty quick. Like things like that. So that's the whole point of it. Is it's a right answer, but at the same time, you can pick it apart, and that's why they stress this to us. Because when we're doing the designs, when we're building things, you have to account for all the different little weird things that'll come up. Like, was the bread expired? I don't know. Well, you got to check. And things like that happen behind the scenes with code that we don't even consider. So when someone comes to me and says, integrate these two systems, while I'm only moving 5 fields to 5 fields, it gets infinitely more complex behind the scenes. And this is where APIs come in. Because an API simplifies all of those steps into one single line. I could say, sandwich API, create peanut butters and jelly sandwich, one line. And it does all of those other operations in one little helper class, is what I use. So there's so many different things that come into play. Apache, they publish, it's called Apache POI. It's an API for generating Word and documents programmatically. That's really useful in a system that we work in, Team Connect, where let's say they want an NDA generated for a given matter with one click of a button. They don't want to waste someone's time going in and creating a document by hand when I could add a button to a page, they click it, it pulls all the data elements out of the matter, or whatever other type of record. It's universal. We can build these things anywhere. And it automatically creates a Word document. Now, that's not a one-liner, but it is infinitely, it's so much more simple than trying to do it all without an API. One other thing that can come into play, so those are APIs that you'd use like locally on your machine for development, and then you send the libraries. The actual API itself is, think of with libraries, right? A file, a zipped up file that contains all of the helper files inside of it, like jars, right? They call them jars if you've ever seen one. There's all of those that work on your machine, but there's also web APIs. There's REST APIs. An API is an application programming interface. Like I said, it's kind of a blanket thing. It can be any number of helpful programming things. For a REST web API, let's say computer A is sitting here, computer B is sitting here. They're both capable of talking on the web because they have a REST API. It's able to reach out to the web. Now I have this piece of middleware that I'm developing that says, System A, give me a bunch of data. It sends the data to my integration component. It pushes it to System B. System B has a response. It comes back into mine. So it's not just limited to one machine and something helpful. It can be across the web. I mean, you could do so much with APIs. It's just, think of it as just programming simplified. It's just a helper.
It's just, I mean, basically it's getting one system to talk to another and
yes,
go back and forth.
The web APIs is system to system. You can use that, or just an API on your machine to simplify an otherwise really complicated operation like making the sandwich. You don't have to consider anything other than just one line of code, make the sandwich. And that's the best way I can really explain it, is it's taking something like that and simplifying it to where you only need the minimal amount of work.
Right. So when a company says we have an API, what does that mean, or what can it mean?
Typically that's going to be, let's use an example. DocuSign. I've worked with DocuSign. DocuSign has an API. What they mean when they say that is we have a forward-facing REST API, so you can make calls to our system to submit documents and retrieve documents. Now, to kind of simplify that, when you go to DocuSign.com and you log in, you have something to sign, or let's say you have an actual account and you're maintaining something for your business, and you need to check if something was signed or send some more stuff out, whatever, you're on a dashboard. You're viewing a web interface. You're seeing what their server is sending to a web browser. It's meant to be readable by a human. It's parsed on screen as a web page. The API in this case would be machine to machine. And that's typically going to be in the, there's a language called JSON. It's JavaScript object notation. I love it. It's just like curly bracket, square bracket, and then items inside the square brackets separated by commas. Just picture it like like a comma separated list, right? So instead of having, let's say, give me documents that were signed today. So on the web page, you have a dashboard. You're going to have like a view with all your stuff, bulleted point list with hyperlinks and stuff. You can click in. If you did that with the API, it's going to be machine to machine. So it's just a whole bunch of comma separated values, name of document, document ID, any metadata associated with it, like fields, stuff like that. But it's all kind of easy to read because it's comma separated. It's not really meant for a user to use and manipulate, but from one machine to another, it's just perfect. You're either getting an empty element, an empty array, or you're getting an array of like a data set, just everything you need to break it apart, create records in the target system. It's really cool.
See, this is why we need people like you, because none of that makes a whole lot of sense. And you're the one who loves to like sit in there and make all that stuff in between these two systems.
Yeah.
So
well,
go ahead.
The sandwich thing, right? That made sense, right?
Yeah, because you don't realize how many actual steps there are to get from where everything is to a peanut butter and jelly sandwich.
and that's the best way to describe an API is it takes something really complex and it makes it a one-liner. You don't have to describe every step. You just say, Alexa, DoorDash sandwich. There's a whole number of APIs that would be in play there.
Alexa, off.
All right.
Now all of our Alexas are going to make what?
That's awesome.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah, I mean that's basically it. It's just simplifying a process, and then like we were touching on, you have the web APIs where it's machine to machine, but again, it's just at a high level, it's simplifying a process into just a couple lines. And it's just machine talking to machine. That's very complicated down into a couple lines. You don't have to specify protocols, what are we using? TLS 1.1, 1.2. 1.2 is kind of the go-to now. They're phasing out. They phased out 1.0. I think 1.1 still okay. I'd have to check. Don't quote me on that. I don't want to look stupid, but
okay, no quoting on that.
1.2 is the safe one. That's the go-to right now. But you don't have to specify things like that in a lot of cases because it's already handled on the back end because of APIs. Everything's simplified.
Right. So, I mean, and that makes it so much better for the end user because it's not a manual process anymore. It's a hit button and basically, and they talk and get your information and yay!
It makes it a lot easier for me, the guy that's making that button, because it takes, I don't know, 500 lines, we'll say. Let's say it takes me 500 lines of code to make that button work and all the error checking and everything else that goes into it. Without the APIs, I don't even want to think about how many lines of code that would be. Couple thousand, maybe, maybe more. I don't know. A lot more complex without the APIs.
Yeah, I personally think this is all fascinating, and it's such a huge topic right now because everybody's working from home, or a lot of people anyway are working from home, and it's a lot of the manual process has gotten more difficult because you're not all in one office and you can't go talk to each other, and to have these systems talking to each other now and managing the data between them it's really cool. I think it's so great, and I love that you love to do it and build that middleware, to make it happen. How about you, Michelle? Do you have any questions for Josh while we're here?
Well, I just think that it's a really interesting process, and I've never really thought about it, breaking it down step by step. And I have no experience building out an API, obviously, but I thought that the experiment that we did, the little exercise, was really fun and kind of enlightening. And I didn't know that there was all of this stuff that goes behind, into the work behind the scenes, essentially, of these APIs. So I encourage our clients to utilize, let's say we're talking about their e-billing or matter management software, and they're looking into, let's say, a document software to store their contracts and, what have you. I always encourage them to make sure that they have, with their IT team, a good API, that this can be a seamless, just easy, as pain-free as possible process. And I really never really understood what all went into that. So this has been really enlightening. I really appreciate this.
And speaking of that, Josh has been working really, really hard on a integration from Tracker to iManage. And so I actually am going to have a good sample of that very soon. Josh and I have got it almost perfect. I hesitate to use
getting there. Yeah.
But it's working really well, and I'm going to have a hard copy documentation with screenshots of how that works. So if anybody's interested in that, hit me up. I'm happy to explain that and get Josh on the phone and kind of show how that works too for anybody who's interested in that. So
I mean, count me in. I'd love to see it just because I'm super fascinated, but absolutely, anybody who would like that information, please let us know. Yes,
absolutely. And we've got NetDocs working on this too. So, I mean, in the process of working on a tracker to NetDocs. And so this is going to be really fun and interesting. So we welcome, of course, any questions that anyone has. And we can be reached at support@mosaiclegalops.com. Also, go to our website, mosaiclegalops.com. There's a start a conversation button that goes to our Calendly links. So you can go ahead and just schedule a call with us whenever it's convenient, and we're happy to talk. Does anybody have anything else right now?
I don't think so. I just want to say again, Josh, thanks. That was very, very informative. And I honestly didn't know whether or not I was going to come out of this conversation understanding this piece better, but I really do. And that I think is really, valuable. So now I can inform my clients even better than I was before.
Well, Josh is really good at explaining things, so to us laymen's, so it's perfect.
That's how I learn it. I just associate it with something I already know, something simple.
Right. Right. Well, I appreciate both of you. Thank you so much, and have a great day.
Thank you. You too.